Does power loss trigger a narcissist's worst traits? This thought-provoking question opens a Pandora's box of captivating psychological insights. Let's delve deeper into the complex world of narcissism by considering the case of a high-profile CEO, renowned for his grandiose self-image, excessive craving for admiration, and high-flying lifestyle. This CEO was known for his flamboyant personality and was always in the public eye due to his impressive accomplishments and his undeniable charisma. When a significant corporate merger resulted in him being dethroned from his prestigious position, his response was far from gracious. In the heat of the moment, he lashed out spitefully, blaming everyone but himself for the loss of his esteemed position. His intense reactions can be considered a textbook example of narcissistic rage, an outburst of intense anger directed towards those seen as threats to their sense of self-esteem or self-worth. In another intriguing instance, we have the example of an acclaimed actress renowned for her narcissistic tendencies and her incredible talent on screen. She was a household name, well loved by many, yet infamous for her inflated ego. However, her world came crashing down when she was replaced by a rising star in a much coveted role. Instead of accepting this as a professional decision, she embarked on a public tirade, bad-mouthing her replacement and the production team, causing scandalous headlines across media outlets. This reaction showcases another common trait among narcissists. When their power is challenged, the use of destructive tactics to regain control and attention. Narcissists are infamous for their inflated sense of self-importance, but when their power is threatened, these characteristics can magnify exponentially. They might resort to manipulative tactics, vindictive blaming, and even aggression to safeguard their self-image. They feel an overwhelming need to be the center of attention and can go to great lengths to achieve this. A fascinating research study conducted at prestigious University of Georgia found that individuals who displayed high levels of narcissism were more likely to retaliate or seek revenge when they felt their ego was under threat. This defensive response is an illustration of the narcissist's inability to cope with power loss. Their lack of resilience often leads to a vicious spiral of destructive behavior, causing chaos and discord in their professional and personal lives. This defensive response illustrates the narcissist's inability to cope with power loss, often leading to a spiral of destructive behavior. However, not all narcissists react in the same way. If we take an example, let's consider the case of a well-known politician who's been frequently pointed out for his overt narcissistic personality. This politician had very high ambitions and was known for his charismatic leadership, which on several occasions managed to sway public opinion in his favor. He carried a reputation of being a highly influential figure, a force to be reckoned with. However, during a particularly significant election, he suffered a resounding defeat. Surprisingly, instead of the expected reaction of outbursts or defensiveness, he chose a path that shocked many. Rather than lashing out at his opponents or his supporters who had him, he abruptly disappeared from public view. He went off the grid, completely vanishing from the public eye, refusing to attend the inauguration of his successor, a move that stunned both his supporters and detractors. This abrupt disappearance, this sudden withdrawal from everything he once used to dominate, is a classic example of a narcissist's withdrawal. It is an act of retreat into their own world where they can continue to view themselves as superior beings, unaffected by the harsh realities of the world. This retreat, however, is not a sign of acceptance, but rather a sign of denial. It's a defense mechanism, a way of preserving their self-image, which they perceive as they refuse to believe that they could be at fault or could have done something wrong, instead choosing to isolate themselves in a world where their authority remains unchallenged. From such examples, we glean that narcissists often react to power loss with a variety of anger, defensiveness, and sometimes, like our politician, withdrawal. They find it unbearable to accept reality, particularly when it clashes with their inflated self-image. This often results in them resorting to destructive behaviors to protect their fragile self-esteem. This inability to accept defeat, this inability to handle loss of power, is a manifestation of their volatile reaction. They may exhibit narcissistic rage, engage in destructive tactics, or in cases like our politician, withdraw completely to protect their inflated self-image. Reactions, regardless of which form they take, all serve to highlight the narcissist's inability to cope with defeat, their intense need for admiration, and their unwillingness to accept responsibility. To summarize, when faced with power loss, a narcissist's reaction is often volatile and defensive, underscoring their deep-seated insecurities and fear of being seen as less than perfect. Understanding these reactions not only provides a fascinating insight into the narcissist's psyche, but also illuminates a much deeper narrative about our society and the mental health landscape we navigate on a daily basis. It is a complex maze filled with nuances and peculiarities that can often be overlooked or ignored. But understanding the narcissist's psyche is akin to discovering a crucial piece of a greater puzzle. It is a stark reflection of how power dynamics are influenced by our personalities and mental states. It brings to focus the importance of recognizing and confronting such behaviors in our society. This importance cannot be overstressed. We live in a world where the loudest voices are often heard, and these voices can sometimes come from individuals with narcissistic tendencies. The impact of their actions and words on the community around them can be seismic, causing emotional unrest and upheaval. It's paramount, then, that we not only acknowledge these behaviors, but also take active steps to address them. The narrative also elucidates the crucial role of therapeutic interventions. These interventions can provide a safe, structured environment where narcissists can learn to cope with power loss in a healthier, more constructive way. This process of learning is not easy. It requires patience, understanding, and the willingness to change. Therapeutic interventions can help catalyze this change, equipping narcissists with tools and strategies to handle power loss. The benefits of such interventions are multifold. They can help create healthier individuals and, by extension, healthier societies. This exploration of narcissism and power loss urges us to reflect on our understanding of power itself. When we think of power, we often think of it as a privilege. However, this perspective is fundamentally flawed. Power isn't merely a privilege, it's also a responsibility. It requires the ability to make decisions not just for oneself, but for the collective. It demands maturity, understanding, and a deep sense of empathy. And finally, for those with narcissistic tendencies, power also serves as a test. It's a test of their ability to handle defeat, to face adversity head-on without resorting to destructive behaviors. It's a test of their resilience, their tenacity, and their willingness to learn and grow. This exploration of narcissism and power loss reminds us that power is not just about wielding control, but also about cultivating understanding, empathy, and resilience. And for those with narcissistic tendencies, it's a test of their capacity